Hey everybody, it's another silver alert from the AARPGs. We're at GenCon, as you know, and we're in the Modiphius booth with Birch.
Hello.
Hi Chris, thanks for spending some time with us today.
It's my pleasure, thank you.
This show is crazy. What's the most interesting thing you've seen so far?
I haven't actually left the booth much, so not yet. I mean, it's day one, so hopefully we'll see a few things. I mean, there's some cool. I saw this cool little board game, and I try and walk around a lot of the little indie companies because you see stuff that you wouldn't see back in the UK or in shops. So yeah,
that's awesome. I hope you get some time to explore a bit.
Yeah,
escape the crowds and
thank you
and whatnot. You guys have a new product called Dreams and Machines.
Yeah.
And it's a starter set, and I want to say that I've seen a huge uptick in starter sets, and the quality of them that I've seen so far has been phenomenal. It's just been getting, like, every company that I've seen that was released on it is just up the game.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit about Dreams and Machines.
So Dreams and Machines is a post-apocalyptic world I've been working on, for about 7 years. It's a human colony cut off from Earth, and they had a war with the AI and these big mechs about 200 years ago. And they had to bomb their own worlds into the dark ages to stop the AI. And so now the world, people have been rebuilding. They're in small farming communities. You've got kind of descendants of people who survived in bunkers and government groups that now have kind of more technological facilities. You've got tribal groups called spears who live amongst the ruins and more radioactive areas, and they kind of hunt the machines that come back alive. And sometimes the machines are waking up again, which is bad news because it means the AI is probably repairing itself. And really the game is all about, humanity's working together. This isn't a grimdark apocalypse. This is the feel-good apocalypse. This is like... We're all getting on. We're working together. Like, how are we going to defeat the big bad? What are we going to do to stop the AI? What are we going to do to save our community? How are we going to rebuild? And so it's very much a positive story. And everything's been designed as if a 12-year-old girl got hold of our rule book and pressed some flowers into it and kind of did some annoying little sketches and like little feathers of, I found this weird animal and highlighted bits of the text. It's very cute, but it just gives it a different feel. When we did Free RPG Day, we did a colouring book.
Oh, really?
Just to be different, And so it's, the book is also, you can play straight out of the box. You don't need to read the rules.
Oh, okay.
You just open the tutorial and you start handing out the cards. Everything's, all the character creation is with 3 cards.
Oh, interesting.
An origin, which then gives you a choice of 2 archetypes. You pick a temperament, and those cards tell you what gear you've got, and how much spirit, which is kind of like your hit points. And we have a thing called supply points, which lets you generate cool stuff. And then you go out into the world, and all the cards have got imagery on it, so it shows you what does that person look like, what does the gear look like, and it helps the games master get across this unusual, very colourful world.
Yeah, it's not on Earth. It's a different planet, and you've got probably a whole different ecology there. Technology, I'm sure, is progressed far enough. But you said you bombed all the AI to hell, so a lot of it probably is working. Yeah. So there's no pre-gens in the starter set. It's,
no pre-gens at all. I mean, we have a Quickstart that has pre-gens.
Okay.
But with this, it's kind of like a starter box come campaign box, because you've got the starter adventure that holds your hand, holds the GM's hand. It does everything for you, explains the rules as you play. And you basically are reading it to players, and then you, pick up the dice and you need this number. And so it's really helping you all learn the rules as you play.
Okay.
Not having to go off for half an hour and read the character creation section. And then there's a whole campaign book. So once you've learned the basics of the rules, it's like, okay, now read this first section, prepare for the next adventure. So you've got a whole campaign to play through, and you've got a rules reference book in alphabetical order, so it's very easy to check some of those more developed descriptions of how the rules work. but lots of handouts. That the world, the lore is described through a lot of handouts, which the players will discover as they play, and they get mechanical bonuses for finding information about the world, which we call them knowledge fragments.
Okay.
You can cash in to get cool new gear.
Okay.
So it's a reward for learning about the world.
So are those bits, are those on cards, or are these
Yeah, so we've got like, I'm going to hold up some, like your hit points, what we call spirit. It's a little, it's kind of swirly tokens like this.
Okay.
So as you're spending them, you don't have to write anything down.
Okay.
You're like, okay, I've burnt some of my spirits. The GM is collecting threat, this is a little robot shape. You can regain spirit by giving the GM threat, but the GM can spend threat to introduce complications, to pay for special abilities of enemies, to bring in reinforcements, to change it, make the building start collapsing. But giving the GM threat is a way of a player going, okay, I want some more stuff to shoot. I want you to make it more exciting. I'm bored. Make something happen. So it's a nice feedback mechanic, and it also helps guide a new GM in understanding how much more pain do I throw at the players, how much more action.
Yeah.
And so it's a really nice loop for the players. And so we've got counters for everything. We've got cards for all the locations you go with a piece of art. So I'm just going to grab a handful of cards here.
Sure.
So you were in a kind of desert location here. This is actually a farm mech shelter. There's information for the GM on the back with keywords and a description to read to the players. There's all sorts of like a lower level entrance. This is a kind of entrance to a ruined location. We've got a temple here with a nanogram or holographic creature flying around that you're encountering, and a room full of mechs that's full of danger. And these are active, what we call wakers. They're machines that have awoken. And again, so it gives you keywords that are relevant for the rules and which NPC cards you would need to populate this location.
Okay.
Also makes it really easy to just have a quick random adventure. You can draw a few cards, come up with them. The major NPCs, the big mechs you're going to fight, have a series of action cards. So as a GM, you draw that and it tells you exactly what the NPC is going to do that turn. Or you can draw it at random and see what happens. So there's a lot of, hand-holding, guidance, support for both existing and new games masters for this system.
Okay. It sounds like this would be a good way to teach, maybe you had a kid, like we do.
Yeah.
You want to teach them how to role play with their friends.
Yeah.
What age group do you think this would be good to start with?
So there is threat and danger in it.
Yeah.
But there's no gore, there's no swear words. This is very much a family-friendly adventure game. Mm-hmm. And of course, as a GM, you can dial up the threat and action and information. So, from a complexity, it's a role-playing game at the end of the day. The core of the system is 2D20, which, if you know, are Dune, Fallout, Star Trek, Conan, Music Chronicles Infinity, John Carter role-playing games. It's going to feel very familiar, but the essence of it is that you always roll 2 20-sided dice against a number. In this case, we have 4 attributes. You're trying to get that number or less on either of the dice, and you can spend spirits to roll more dice, because maybe the GM says you need 1 success. You're shooting a guy who's chasing you. Oh, okay, you're shooting a guy in the rain, and it's dark. It's 2 successes, 3 successes.
Okay.
So you might need more dice, so you spend your spirit. But wait a minute, you're using your spirit to absorb damage.
Oh. Okay.
So you've got to be a bit careful, but you can get spirit back by giving the GM threats. So there's a little bit of a loop there. And if you also happen to get under your skill, you get a bonus success. You can actually have up to 5 dice.
Okay.
I started designing the game when we first had it as 5d20, but that was a bit crazy. So the 2d20 was the optimum. But it's a very quick system to teach. It allows a lot more cinematics, because if I roll extra successes, you can describe what you want to do with them. Do you want to do more damage? Do you want to do it quicker? Do you want to also punch the guy in the face, leap out the window onto a horse and race off into the sunset.
And is there like a list of options for these?
Yeah, you've got like a list of what you can spend your extra successes on.
Okay.
Or you can just say, can I do this? Okay, yeah, sure, I'll give you that for those extra successes.
Yeah, it gives the GM some freedom to...
Yeah. So it's it's a little bit now. There's a certain amount of crunch to it. It's probably one of the easiest versions of 2D20. It's certainly in teaching people. It's I think it definitely works for a younger audience. But it's got the depth of strategy and narrative for players who want to really evoke the storyline and do cool cinematic things.
So if somebody wanted to like kind of dabble in 2D20, they could play this game and then they could take what they learned to...
I mean, this... sorry, I should hold the box. This box is the starter box. I think it's, of all the games we've done, this is the one that if you've never played it before and you want someone to teach you, the game will teach you. You don't need anyone to teach you. The game will teach you how to play with 1, 2, 3, or 4 more friends. And it's got all the stuff in the box to, once you've learnt the rules, there's so much more material you can play through. So if you like sci-fi, ancient societies, exploring sci-fi ruins, fighting big mechs, weird ancient creatures, weird malevolent holograms that are trying to stop you, and a big plot that's unfolding over the storyline, but you don't want something that's grimdark, you want something that's like feel good, we're all working together, then I think this is going to be a great world for you to play in.
So I've been seeing kind of more of a trend to see a move away from the grimdark sci-fi. So I've seen some other products that are coming out with more community-based, more hopeful type products.
Yeah. Well, I think Polygon did an article recently on hope punk games. This new kind of a growing genre of just feel-good games about, it's not that grim dark. It's not, everyone's not trying to kill each other. Yeah. It's definitely more positive themes and all kinds of themes. I mean, ours is still a world full of danger and threats. Yeah. But the people that we play are not trying to, like murder each other to get their stuff. There's plenty of enemies out there that we're fighting against, like ancient super scientists and evil AI and mechs and stuff. So there's plenty of kind of more fantastic threats that we've got to deal with, and we're all coming together. And a good example is we've got one of our spear characters in the background. The spears are this community of people who've grown up in the ruins of the cities and in the radioactive areas, and their ancestors 200 years ago didn't want to leave their homes. I mean, we know that story. There's plenty of stories of people who in war zones won't leave their home. Why? It's my home. I don't want to go. Yeah. So these people were like, no, I'm going to fight back against the machines. And the survivors, the people, the resistance developed this thing called a spear for them, which is a kind of mono-bladed weapon that with an EMP blast that they could use to take down the machines. And it's evolved over time, and it's now this quite kind of like a sacred item. You add this like fabric chords and details that tells a story of, well, that one's from a warrior that killed a big 4-legged mech, and this one is from a woman who died defending her people, and this one. So it has this whole kind of lineage, and the spear kind of chooses you. So the young warriors, when they're coming of age, they go into the armory and they meditate, and the spear picks them. And they add to the story. But the interesting thing with the spears is that they don't leave anyone behind. And this isn't just about if you're wounded, they bring you home. They don't let anyone feel like they've been left behind. So they have a lot of disabilities because they're in quite radioactive areas. So there's a lot of people like maybe they've got a disabled leg, they have breathing difficulties. So they find a fix for you. They help you with breathing apparatus. They get you a prosthetic, and they make sure that you feel like a functional member of the hunting party. Everyone can hunt. Everyone can fight. Everyone is a member of the society. Both they know they are in their head as much as in their heart, and as much as they are physically. So when I say they don't let anyone feel left behind, no one feels like they're a third-rate part of the community. So that's a good example of that hopeful feel of like, hey, we're all in a team together. We're all as capable. It doesn't matter how different we are from each other. We're all part of it. So
that's pretty beautiful. Last question about Dreams Machines before we kind of touch on some of the other things. a lot of people are playing online now, or are there going to be VTT options?
Yes, we will be. So all the usual suspects like Roll20, Foundry, etc., will gradually get integrations for Dreams of Machines. It's our big IP that we're developing, so we want to make sure people have got as much access to it as possible.
Okay. And this is shipping already, or
this is selling now at GenCon. We've got a big pile that we flew in. Yep. It's hitting retailers at the end of August, early September. Okay. And then the core books, the Player's Guide, Games Master's Guide, and some very beautiful dice sets come out in the autumn or the fall, as you say here. And then we've got a big campaign book, which is the beginning of a big reveal of all the storyline and the plot. And there's a series of campaign books that expand the area of adventures, give you a whole storyline to play through. It's going to give you more player options. One thing I wanted to add is that we have like advanced archetypes. I wanted to tell you about one of the other kind of hope-filled areas of the game is how you can retire in the game, or you can die in a positive way. There's, I think I'm a big believer in everything loss leads to a positive experience, and so your characters, when you go down in the game, when you run out of spirit, friends can help get you up again. And the only way you get experience is through helping someone get up or getting up from going down. So you actually want to go down in battle so that you can get some experience getting up again. And so you learn from your failures and from your losses. And every character has short-term goals and long-term goals. They might say, oh, I want to get married and have kids. I don't want to keep killing robots. Like, that's too dangerous. So every time you hit one of your short-term goals, you get a massive boost of XP. You get, loads of cool new abilities. You get really powerful. But when you hit the long-term goal, that's it. You're out. You're like, I'm going to go and settle down with my partner. But that's really cool because then you unlock advanced archetypes in our game. You get to really, really powerful character types that aren't available at the beginning. Okay. So the first time and every time someone retires, they get to start a really new, powerful archetype, and we're bringing in new ones through every campaign book. So the whole group gets to level up. And now that character that retired is now Uncle Chris. Uncle Chris gives you one of his cool plasma guns, and some of you get half their XP to build your character. Okay. But now we've got someone that we can go and see when we need help. Every so often, if you really need it, you can call on them to come and help you in an adventure, like once. Okay. They're like, okay, you losers, I'll come and help you. All right, okay. And then, but also the flip side is someone dies, you can elect to die in a scene, you get a massive boost in power. But what it means is you're willing to die. And when that person dies, again, you get access to the advanced archetypes. But now we have a character that we all remember fondly. They sacrifice themselves for us, and you get a benefit for the group for remembering that character at critical moments. Okay. So again, there's a positive side to loss. So the world is still full of threat and danger, but when we deal with the loss, there's a very good, feel-good aspect to it.
You probably caught me put on a big smile when you started explaining that part, because I've been saying a lot recently that it's fun to fail.
Oh, it is.
It's there's consequences for actions, and they're not always bad. Good things can come out of it. So absolutely. I like that you built that into the game, because sometimes it's hard for people to kind of they don't want anything. They don't want to step on any trap. They don't want anything negative to have the customers. It's good to just like let go a little bit and trust that something better is going to come out of it.
I mean, I want you to liken this to if you were playing D&D, and the only way to get XP is to run out of hit points. Yeah. Imagine that, like if the only way to get XP was to help someone heal their hit points. That's kind of like our game, is that take the risks. You get XP in our world from taking risks and going down, because we all learn. I mean, I've learned most of my, I am where I am now, I think, because of all the terrible mistakes I've made in my life. because now I know why things go right. You know,
Yeah.
if you always are successful, you never know why you are successful.
You need that dynamic range, and you need to experience all the emotions. So there's nothing wrong with that.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and if my character got XP from losing their hit points, I'd be 20th level when they were all at third.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. I had no idea. I read the box, but that was about it. So you give me a good primer on what this game is about.
Great.
I can see this doing really well for a lot of folks that want something kind of more uplifting, but still have that danger. Yeah. So I'm pretty happy that we had this chance to talk to you. I think.
Sure.
So we've talked about Dreams and Machines. What else do you have coming out this fall?
So we just put out a Quickstart for COHORS CTHULU. So if you know our Acton Cthulhu world, which is World War II and Nazis and sleeping gods, this is a prequel set in Roman times. So we all know Keep on the Borderlands, classic D&D adventure. So imagine you're playing that. It just happens that the soldiers in the fort are wearing Roman armor. So we're deep in the forests on the front lines of the Roman Empire in Germany, where they call it Germania. There's strange cults operating in the town. Okay. There's barbaric tribal tribes kind of running around in the forest who might be a threat. Maybe the Romans are a threat because maybe you're a Germanic scout or a hunter and you're trying to protect your people. You might be an apothecary, a priest with strange powers. You might be an assassin from Egypt. You might be a philosopher from Greece who's digging up strange ruins and learning about, ancient knowledge. So this is I guess you could say it's sword and sandals style fantasy that just happens to be set in the Roman era. You could be playing brave Roman soldiers or, like I said, like Germanic tribes people, all sorts of interesting characters. You've really got to put aside their differences because they're up against an even more insidious plot, which is this what we call the cult of Mormo are trying to destroy the Roman Empire, and there's a whole sort of storyline that's going to unfold. So that's coming out as a Kickstarter in October. You can download the free Quickstart now, and again, it's the 2D20 system. It's a bit more crunchy. It's a bit more gory and horrific because it's Cthulhu, but it's still two-fisted. You can go down punching Cthulhu in the face with this, much like our Acton Cthulhu game is, you can punch Nazis. It's a feel, and it's imagine Centurion or Gladiator meets, the Overlord film or The Walking Dead. It's like action adventure in the Roman era.
I can't help but imagine my friends turning this into a Life of Brian game.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. No.
That's like when you're talking about, it's like I could see it now because that's what we do. We ruin things. But
I think every game of role playing ends up as a Life of Brian or a Monty Python sketch.
The good ones, anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's pretty exciting. And do you have a date for the Kickstarter launch?
First week of October.
Okay.
And there's going to be the usual core books and a campaign book. We've got a whole bunch of miniatures like heroes. So hero legionnaires and different characters from Germania, and ultimately we're doing a war game, a co-op and solo only war game.
Okay.
You play again. You're going to start as a lonely Roman soldier running for your life from an ambush, and you're going to gradually build up your force, unfolding a storyline as well.
I've seen a lot of solo games recently.
Yes. Well, actually, we've just launched the Captain's Log for Star Trek, which has been a huge hit. It's one of our best-selling books ever, and it's a standalone book for the Star Trek Adventures role-playing game, but it's designed to play solo, so you can play a whole campaign on your own, and it's a great tool for games masters to create content on the fly for their players as well.
Okay. So you could take the solo adventure and make a whole story arc around what happens in there.
Yeah.
So many cool things.
Yeah.
So many things I want to play. Not enough time to play them, but man, Chris, I'm so glad that we were able to
Thank you for coming.
Yeah,
it's been great to see you.
But thanks for watching, everybody. Keep watching our channel, and if you haven't subscribed yet, why not? Why do you hate us? But anyway, thanks so much.
Thanks. See you. Bye-bye.